you come in, you don't remember that you're supposed to greet the people or tell them, thank you when you're leaving. There are some small things that, or you're chewing gum or eating something, or you forget to put your phone on vibration or on silent. These are the things that can affect you negatively. Okay, next slide. There are non-verbal communication. One of them is that you don't offer a handshake until, if the interviewer doesn't, offer a handshake, please don't bother to offer. And then even in this day of COVID, there's people are encouraged to have less physical contact as possible. And then when you walk into a place for an interview, do not sit until you are asked to sit down. You can even ask. It's okay for you to ask, may I sit down, than for you to just go and sit down. So if they do not offer you, you can ask to sit down, but don't just sit down. And then make eye contact, but don't stare. Don't make it too much. And then smile and nod when you are being talking to. And then relax on the chair, but do not slouch. Don't sit the way you would sit when you're watching TV on the seat. Just sit, with your back on the seat. And then another thing I would like to mention is when most office chairs are these swivel chairs that move around, as in they are able to turn around. When you sit, please don't start moving the chair or turning. Sometimes it's something you do absent-mindedly. Don't start turning the chair around. It's very distracting, and I've seen a few candidates who do that without even knowing that. When you're an interview session, you might be very tense. So there are sometimes you do some things that you might not even be conscious that you're doing them. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this one is for the ladies or maybe for the guys as well. Next slide, please. Okay, so keep your bag on the floor. Keep your feet should be on the floor, and your back should be against the chair. Next, can we go to the next slide? I'm on the next slide. Okay, stay calm, listen very well. Many times when you don't understand the question, you can seek clarification. So if you have a question, you can say, do you mean to say you understand? You can rephrase the question and ask the person for clarity, because it's better you understand the question before you answer than when you answer entirely off the topic of what you are being asked. So if you don't even if you do, it's okay not to know a question. If you don't know it, just say or if you're not sure, please indicate that you're not sure. And then if you're the kind of person that is always fidgeting, like moving your hands, is advised that you put your hands on your lap, so you look comfortable. Don't move your hands too much, because when you do, can also be distracting for the person that is doing the interview. Okay, next slide. Okay, yeah. So before leaving, be sure to give the interviewer a handshake. That's if he's offered. Thank them for the time that they took to meet with you and speak with you, because really, it is not everybody who applied that they meet. So thank them for considering you. And then as you're leaving, if it's a place where there's a reception, or just be cautious, tell the people that you're leaving, just say thank you or goodbye or something, as you just the way you greet people when you see them, really. And then thank them for their time. And then another thing is that when we let us not, they are everyday spoken English, like slangs that we use every day. Those slangs are not expected in a formal conversation, in a formal meeting. Example, let's say, there's this slang, like when people want to exclaim something about being surprised, they'll say something like "mado." "Mado," in terms of if you write it and the meaning, is not the same meaning of that we use it when we are speaking. So there are some things that we say every day that are not expected in a formal meeting. So we also need to be conscious of these things so we don't, distract as well, because, sometimes the person will be like, okay, if we take this candidate, for instance, and we send him to our customer, is that how he will be discussing with them? As you're talking with the recruiter or the employer, they are also thinking about, okay, what will happen if we take this person? Is this, apart from the fact that this person can do the job, what if, how would this person treat our customers? How would this person appear in front of our customers? So sometimes, even though you might be able to do the basic part of the job, if you're not able to represent them in front of their clients, you might not be the best fit. Because remember that for everything that you are not able to do, there's always another candidate who have that. So if you are not that well-rounded candidate, you might not get the position, even though that you have the basic skills. Okay, so next slide. The next slide talks about things that you shouldn't say during an interview. Okay, so you things like, I really hate my job. Okay, so if we give you this our own, are you going to also hate it? Or maybe you start saying bad things about your boss or your company. The thing about, it's okay if you want to leave a place, but you don't need to speak evil of them, because even though everybody's experience is not the same. So even though you might have experiences that may not be so sweet to you, there are other people in that same environment who have better experiences. You understand? So as you're saying things that are not so good about your employer, the person that's in front of you is wondering, okay, is this how he's going to be talking about us to other people as well? Or maybe your phone shouldn't ring. It's bad enough that your phone rings and then you now want to even take the call. Your phone shouldn't ring. So your phone should either, you have options. Your phone should either be off, it can be on silent, it can be on vibrate, so that it does not distract. And then, while it's okay not to know the answer to every question, but you shouldn't answer I don't know to more than one or two questions, because really you are supposed to know, or at least have an idea of why you are there. And then things like when we say things like, it's on my CV, of course we saw your CV before we called you. Now we have called you, we shouldn't be going back to your CV. So we need to discuss with you one-on-one. So if you're there, don't refer them to your CV. Talk. So what this means is that you need to know what is in your CV. So even if maybe somebody helped you to construct your CV, you need to be very familiar with what is there. And then you shouldn't use, just the way I said, you shouldn't use slangs. You shouldn't use swear words or strong language. And then you should have questions at the end of the interview. You should have questions. It shows that you're interested in the company. And then it's somehow when you come and then you don't know what they are all about. You should know at least the basic things about their products and their services. So, but then it's possible for you not to know, assuming that is a recruiter that is conducting the meeting. So if it's a recruiter, then it's possible for you not to know what they do. But at least it means that you should know what the recruiter does, that this is a recruiter, because most times the invite might come from an official all the time though. Now, in that case, so you don't know the company. Yeah, even if you don't know the company, you should be able to know about the role that you applied for, or the role that you're being called for. Another thing that I would like to mention is that when you are actively applying, you should have a place where you record your applications. So maybe somebody calls you on the phone and you come and say, which company is this one again? Or when did I apply? You shouldn't be asking them that. Those are information that you should have. Those are information that you should know. You're the one that is interested in working with them, so you should know what you applied for. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so this one talks about, tell me about yourself. This is like the easiest question when you go for an interview, but it's also very tricky because what we are discussing here is not your life history. So when I say tell me about yourself, it's not everything about you that I want to know. What I want to know is, what is it about you that makes you qualified for this position that we are discussing? What is it about you that will help us in deciding if you're the best fit for this job? What is it about you that will make us consider you? So there is really no need to start talking about where you were born and the nursery school you attended and how there are 5 of you in your family, or you come from a polygamous family. All those information are personal to you. So you don't even need to mention where you stay or where you're from. So what is important in this discussion is about, what did you study? That means the skills that you have, your background. What did you study? What have you done? Where have you worked? What is it that you do? Maybe extracurricular activity that you do that makes you a good fit. That is really what is important. So for the others, if let's say you didn't add anything about where you born or where you stay, they can always ask you, and if they ask you, yeah, then you can provide that information. And then this question is something that you should answer in less than a minute. So because by the time you go through your life history, you end up having to talk for a long time. Remember that tell me about yourself. It's just like an icebreaker. So it's just like a question to make you relax. Not all the time. You might not get this question all the time, but most of the time you will get this question, something exactly or something close to this question. But the important thing is for you to know that you should not bring things that are irrelevant into this introduction. It has to be something that, so don't dive into your life history. So we don't want to hear about where you stay and all of your life experience. Everything we want to hear is about maybe what you have done as a student, what you have done as work, what things that are really related. And then it might even be what is that thing about yours. So they want to know when we ask this question. Okay, so let the next one, please. That's also okay. So can we change the slide to the next one? Or I think the next 2 slides. Okay, so you have to leverage on the research that you have done, because usually you're supposed to have done a little research on the company. As in the cases where the company that has invited you, that's when it is not a recruiter that is inviting you. You should have gone to their website to know things about them. What do they stand for? What are their values? And then you align it with your own personal values to know how to answer. So you need to show them that you're suited, you're their kind of person. That's really what this question is all about. Okay, so to the next one, we are talking about, next one is talking about, the next slide, please, talking about your strength. So everybody has a strength, everybody has a weakness. So I know that there's times when people will say, I don't have a weakness. Well, if you say you don't have a weakness, it might be that you're not self-aware, or you are in denial. That's for weakness now. Because really what they want to know here, when they ask you for your weakness, it's not like they are looking for ways not to hire you. They just want to, sometimes many of these questions really, we just want to hear you talk. We want to, maybe some people might be assessing your spoken English or the way you articulate your points and all. So there are also many things that we might be looking at that point that you may not be aware of. Okay, I know that it's very easy to talk about our strengths, so I will not want to dwell on this, but one thing I would like to mention is that whatever it is that you're discussing, please align it with what is at hand. Remember that you're not here for just a chat, like you're not here for a general, what we will call gisting with our friends. So it doesn't even matter how relaxed they make you feel. You need to know that you are here for a job. So anything that you're saying you have to always align it to how does this fit? How does this fit? So your strength also must fit into into the job. So I hear and I see some people come and say that one of their interests, maybe when they ask them of their interest, they say their interest is surfing the web. Really, surfing? Of course, everybody surfs the web, but surfing the web, they will be thinking, okay, if we give you a job, will you now just be browsing on social media and all of that? But surfing the web to do what exactly? You might be surfing the web. There are different things that you can surf the web for. You can surf the web because of research. You can surf the web because you're trying to learn something new. So you can surf to read. You understand? But when you say surfing the web sounds very shallow. But if you say that one of your interests is research, it makes a lot of sense, because these days for you to do research, you have to do it online. So I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So that when you have to present yourself in such a way that it will also be positive for you, especially in terms of the job at hand. So don't make claims that you can't illustrate with an example. So when there are so many things that we write on our CVs, they sound nice. You may see them somewhere and you copy them. It's fine if you copy them, but make sure that what you're copying is what you are, or a skill or an attribute that you have. So for instance, if you have very good communication skills, you can write it there. But if you now say you have very good written communication skills, and I ask you, okay, what kind of things do you write? And probably you don't even write anything, or you don't have any written thing you can show me. Even on social media, you haven't written anything in the past 3 months. And you say, you understand. So there are so many things that you may not think that we are looking out for, because probably there are 20 people who studied, let's say we are looking for somebody who studied English, for instance, and we have 10 CVs of people who studied English, but we are looking for somebody in particular, not just the person that studied English, but the person that can maybe write essays or something because of an aspect of that job. And then you come and claim that you can write. And you in your CV, or when you say it, you might be thinking that it's a small something, you just say it in passing. But maybe that's the main reason why I even invited you. And it doesn't have to be writing, it can be something else. So that's why it's not good for you to exaggerate or for you to put something that is not true. Okay, but this is also a very good opportunity for you to highlight what you can do, and then mention even the things that may not have been in your CV, or maybe the detail is not there. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. I think I've already talked about the one about your weakness. So it's not the main thing about weakness is not about weakness. You just want to see, are you working on it, or is it something that you have just accepted like that? So when you mention it, it's very good that you mention what you're doing about it. So let's say your weakness is that you have stage fright. What have you been doing about it? What have you done, or are you currently doing in order to at least improve on it? Okay, so why do you want to work for us? Why do you want to work for us? This question it looks easy. Of course, one of the reasons why you want to work for them is that probably you need a job or you need the money. But then what about talk something that relates to their value or to the solution that they provide? Okay, if it's but please, when you're answering these questions, there is no need to like say flamboyant things because they sound nice. Reason is that your answer can lead to another question. So even though these questions are examples of questions that are asked, nobody asks them the way they are. Sometimes you might even go and you don't even get to see this question because we are tired of asking them. So most times we just ask them to make you relax and make you comfortable before we start asking you other things. So right now, when you go, you should expect questions from different aspects, and it can be from anything, because really sometimes it's not about the question. Can you hear me, please? Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Okay, so I was saying that many times the question, when we ask a question during interviews, it might not just be about that question that we ask you. I can ask you a question, but I'm testing something different from the answer you're giving me, because sometimes the answer to that question really is not important to me or not important to the job. But I can ask the question to, sometimes someone can ask you a question to put you on the spot to see how you react to things that are unexpected. You know, many people say that they are able to manage pressure. They want to know, how do you manage pressure? So they can put you under pressure just for a short time to see how you react. So sometimes we can ask you some questions to see if you are honest. So why do you want to work for them? It's always good for you to know the solution that the company provide and the values, as in the company values. So this will help you into answering this question, to know, okay, because you might want to work for a company because of what they support. It might not even be because of their product. It might be because maybe they have a foundation that sponsor people. So, and that has endeared you to them. It might be also because the kind of the role is your career path that you want, that's what you want to do. So there are so many ways that you can answer this question. Okay, then the next slide talks about why did you leave, or why do you want to leave your current job? There are different reasons why you leave. So it also depends on the reason you're leaving. Now, there are times when you are leaving because maybe you don't have a good pay. But even if you don't have a good pay, it's better for you to say that you're leaving for career advancement, because career advancement talks about the pay and the job as well. And then there are some times where the reason you're leaving, you have to be as truthful as possible. It might even be that you're leaving because, or if you have left, I think that's easier to answer. You're no longer there. Is the time that is a bit tricky is if you're still there, that means you want to leave. When you have left, it's okay to say, okay, I'm no longer here because, then you give your reason. But if you're still there, you can also say the reason. It can be career advancement. It can also be maybe logistic issues, maybe the place is far, or different other things, but just be as truthful as possible. Okay, so we go to the next one. The next one talks about where you see yourself in. It doesn't matter how many years. They might ask you without putting the number of years. They can ask you in 10 years. They can also ask you, what's your career aspiration? It's the same question. It's just to know, okay, are you somebody that do you have plans for yourself as a person? Because you should have plans for yourself. And then in that your plan, what are your plans, or is what you're looking for is just this current job now? Please go to the next slide. Okay, what you're looking for, is it just this next one? Okay, if you're an engineer, okay, you studied English, for instance. What do you want to be? What do you want to do? Yes, there are many times when what you study is not what you want to do. Maybe you just got a course, or what you thought you liked is not what you liked now. So you need to articulate these things and have the answers, not when they ask you, you are not thinking, no, but these are some questions. So the reason why we are discussing these things is so that you will have the answers to these questions. And when the questions come, you'll be able to answer. Okay, so the next one is about how much you intend to earn. The first thing I would say concerning this one is that you need to do research. You need to do research on the general level. Now, you need to do a research on what do they pay entry level people. So let's say you can do a research on what do they pay corpers, what do they pay people who have 0 to 2 years experience in IT, in a hotel industry, in the bank. So these are the kind of, I know that when you go to forums like Naira Land, or you go to some job forums and you ask this kind of question, people will provide you with answers, not when you need the answers I do for them. So you need to arm yourself ahead of time, even now, before you even apply, or as you're applying, then if you're able to get the particular information for that company, that would be good as well. But assuming that you're not able to get for that particular company, it's good for you to know what people are earning elsewhere. So what are banks paying? What do hotels pay? What are insurance company paying? What are what do salespeople earn? People in customer service, what's the average salary? Things like that. That's on one hand. And then on the other hand, if you have the information, then this will guide you in terms of, sometimes you might be in a position where you have to mention a figure. Now, if, let's say, for instance, you haven't worked at all, you just finished youth service, it will be safe to tell them that, okay, that you are open to considering their own, they should make you an offer, like you're open to standard is for entry level. Now, if you have worked before, they want to know, okay, you have worked before, you have earned so amount, so what do you want to earn? It's very advisable for you not to give a figure. It's better to put a range, like, let's say 5 to 10, instead of saying 5 or instead of saying 10. So let's say in terms of money now, let's say what you want to earn is 120, or what you want to earn is 100,000 per month. Then you need to tell them, okay, I would like to earn between 100,000 and 150,000 monthly. So it's better for you to say that than to say, I would like to earn 150, because 150 is a figure. It means that, there's an end point. But when you give a range, it means that a range gives you room for a conversation. It gives you room for negotiation. It gives you room for you to have a discussion on that. So another thing that you need to do is, as you are now, let's say you get an invite for a company in VI or Lekki. What you should do, another assignment that you should do, apart from the research on what people earn normally, is that you should sit down and cost what it will take you to survive in a month if you work in VI and you stay in Magodo, or if you work in Lekki and you stay in Ikorodu, for example. So sit down and cost it daily. What will it cost you in transport? And that's besides what people are paying. What happens is that this will help you to know the minimum that you are able to take. So when you cost your transport, transport, feeding, and of course you need extra for your other expenses. If you cost it for a month, I think a month has about 22 working days on the average, 20 to 22 working days. So if you cost that, okay, that if I leave my house to certain places, this is what it will cost me in the minimum. Then you know that, okay, that if I'm supposed to spend, let's say 80,000, it means that I should not accept 70,000. Not because 17,000 is not good, but because in my own particular situation, 70,000 will not work for me. You understand? So if you know what your minimum is, so even if, let's say, you have costed it and it will take you to go from Magodo to VI, let's just, for example's sake, we say 80,000, that's your cost for the month. And then, so you know that, okay, it means that if I get a job that is paying me 100, even though the extra is not a lot, it means, but I can survive. So it means that I already know where my minimum is. Of course, maximum, you know that you're open to earning more, yes. But then if your expenses is 80, for instance, you can now be saying, okay, I would like to earn 120 to 150. So that even if they negotiate and they are not able to do 120, they can, when they do 100 and you consider the situation, okay, you can accept it because you know that covers your basic needs. And then another thing is that even though you have done the research of what people are paying, also know that payment is also related to what that particular company can afford. So what a commercial bank will pay, for instance, is not the same with what a microfinance bank would pay. So we also need to consider that, yes, I know that there are times where you may not have all the information, but that's why you need to prepare ahead. So number one, the assignment you need to do is know what is the industry standard generally. And then number two is to know what is your minimum cost for expenses in terms of where you are going. And then number three is to find out if you can get the specific information about this company. Sometimes the third one is usually not as easy, but if you have the first one and the second one, it will help you in when you are negotiating. That's if you have to negotiate. In some places, you may not need to negotiate because they have their own standard already. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Those are examples of questions that you can ask the interviewer when you're finished. Now, for an entry-level person, if you don't ask a question at the end, it might not be too, the impact might not be too much on you. But for somebody who has experience, we expect that you ask questions. So there are examples of questions that you can ask. If you know their competition, you can ask them about, okay, how is your company different from, let's say, for instance, now you go to a Zenith Bank interview, you can even ask them, okay, Zenith Bank, I really want to know what do you think differentiates you from a GT Bank, for instance. You can ask them and they will tell you, and they'll be very glad to, highlight that for you. And then what's their plan for growth? Sometimes when you ask questions, they might not be able to provide the answers if they are too personal, especially at the final stage of the interview when they may be probably considering you. They might be open to giving you more information, but when there are many people that are still considering, they might not be able to give you specific information about their company. But it's good that you ask. Let it be that they say, oh, this question, this answer, we can't provide it at this time. It's better that they are not able to provide it and maybe you did not answer. Then another one is when the interview is over, that's the next slide, is also good for you to send a thank you email. So even though there's no particular format for sending this, it's very good that you send it. In some places, it doesn't really matter whether you send or not, but you might not know what differentiates you from the next person, because at the point where they are doing shortlisting, everybody has the same basic requirement. Everybody has met the basic requirement. So a little extra might just be what differentiates you from the next person. So you thank them for giving you the opportunity to, to come, and thank them for their time. And then you also remind them of your interest and your qualification for that particular role, and also indicate your interest that you're available for another meeting or to provide further information or clarification in whatever it is that they might want to know. So even though this is not compulsory, but there are some things that are good to have. So it's something that I encourage people to do, but make it short. Don't make it lengthy. Make it short. In all your communication, even in the application, make everything short. Then when you get to the interview, you explain as much as you can, because that's your shot at it. So I think that's we have come to the end of the presentation. I don't know if you have any questions before we do the practicals. Does anyone have any questions, or maybe something you have encountered before, or something that you think about? Do you have questions? Do you have questions? Maybe something that you have encountered when you went for your interview previously.
Okay, I think, so before hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
I was asking them what particular problems do they have with interview? And
yes.
From some of the things that I gathered, someone said she's anxious whenever she goes for an interview. Someone said, the other person said that she actually prepares ahead, but when she gets there and the interviewer probably asks a question that is out of scope, everything jam-packs and scatters in there. So I don't know if you have advice on coping with some of these things.
Okay, well, I think the two questions are the same. It's just about being tense. Well, what you need to know is that everybody is tense. The tension comes from not knowing exactly what they want. The fear of the unknown, that is what causes the tension. Well, how you do is that you need to prepare ahead and then practice. So you can practice by yourself or practice with somebody. That's the first advice I would give, that you practice, so you have an idea of of how you will do. So let it not be that when the question is coming at that time, that's the first time you're hearing. So that's part of the beauty of what we are doing at this time. So you know some of the questions and you prepare your, and let's say for instance, the easiest question about tell me about yourself. Well, why do you prepare your question now that you know it? Go sit down, write it out, as in write it or type it. You can type it in your phone or somewhere, and then don't memorize it, like don't cram it, but get familiar with it. Let's say, for instance, in your tell me about yourself, you would like to mention 5 things, for instance. So just note that 5 things down and practice with it. You can even do like a video of yourself if you don't have somebody to talk, because the easiest part is for you to speak to a friend so that they can assess you both in the non-verbal and the non-verbal part. And then another thing is you need to relax. First of all, you need to tell yourself that I'm here because I have what they are looking for. Once they invite you, for them to invite you, you must have met some criteria. Anybody that did not meet criteria will not come for interview. So for them to have invited you, you have met some, so you have something they are looking for. Even though you might not be the best candidate, sometimes you'll be like, you come and you see 5 other candidates, you'll be like, wow, can I meet up? You don't know what they're looking for or what exactly that made them to invite you. So you need to also be confident in yourself that, okay, I have what they are looking for. Then prepare ahead, because preparation is half of what is required. Then the rest, you just relax and take a deep breath. Even when they ask you a question, you can take a deep breath and then you answer. Just relax and like me, I would say, what's the worst thing that can happen? You already know what you're saying, so say it gently and convincingly. I don't know if I've answered the question.
And so another question that someone has is, they keep asking him, what does he bring to the table? And for him, that question is not direct enough. So he wants to know how to answer that kind of question.
Okay, the question really, what do you bring to the table, is the same thing as what value are you adding to us? So you need to know also, you need to understand the question fully, like what value are you bringing? In yourself, you know what value, so the value you're bringing is your skill in terms of you have what it takes to do the job, and then your character. So, and there are some attributes that are everybody has it. Something like resilience, something like teamwork, communication. So all these things is not everybody, even though we all claim to have communication skills, not everybody has good communication skills. Everybody might be able to speak English, but not everybody know how to write English. Not to write in terms of write English, but in terms of put together a business or a formal document. Not everybody can do that. So those are the kind of things that you bring into the team. So if you already have experience, you're bringing your experience. If you have good attitude, you're bringing your good attitude. If you have what else can you bring? So there are a lot of value you are bringing. But know that the value you're bringing is the value you need to add to the business. So is that you adding it to the service, to the product, or is in alignment with the vision or the mission of the company. So is that you're adding value to the team, or you're adding value to the product or to the service that they provide. So really, what are you bringing to the table is what value are you bringing? So you should know your value. The good thing about some of this question is that you can actually write out the answers and become familiar with them, because what happens is that it's not like you don't know the answers, but because you're tense when you're in front of the interviewers, you might tend to forget this thing. But if you write them down and you go through them from time to time, you see that it's very easy for them to come back to you because they're already written down somewhere. You can even just close your eyes and remember the page and the line number. Not that you cram them, because I noticed that a lot of people do some cram work that when you now ask them another question, let's say something like, what are you bringing to the table? And then I now ask you, what value are you bringing? Because I did not ask it in the exact way that they have crammed, they may not be able to quickly connect it and answer the question. That's one thing that is wrong about cramming. So try to understand the question that they're asking you, take a deep breath and know that the person asking you sometimes might not even be looking at the value that you're bringing to the table. He just wants to know, how will you answer this question? That in terms of, he's not looking for the content of the question. He's looking for the concept that you're using to answer it, really. So depending on who is asking and what they want, there are different, like sometimes people will ask you things like, how many are you in your family? Where are your parents? Where do they stay? You know, they may sound irrelevant, but they are looking for other things that will come out from that answer. Okay. So I don't know if I've answered.
Thank you very much. Before we go to the mock interview, if you check the book, I sent you some documents. That document will probably you have an interview. There are questions to expect. I also sent you a guide of how to actually write some of the answers to these questions that, so that it can help you prepare adequately going for an interview. You understand what I'm saying? So when you are going for an interview, I even sent a document that helps you research the company and what you should research, what maybe you should research the person. So look at the document, that's how you can make use of this effectively for you to prepare for the interview. So now I'll be pulling up a random CV now. The person will sit in front of the screen. Then we have a random mock interview for the person. Then you make your comments afterwards about what the person did right and what the person did wrong.
Okay.
So I'll be pulling up the CVs now. So once I pull up your CV, just carry Just 1 minute.
Okay.
Who wants that name? I don't know your name. So, hello, ma, can you see the CV, ma?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you scroll down a bit on the CV?
Okay. I will also send you the CV on your WhatsApp so you can follow the process.
Okay. Yes, that's much better. Okay, send it on WhatsApp. So I will just open it and then be asking the question. Yeah, I think that's better.
Okay, thanks. Ma, can we have your video, please? Is it possible? Your network is still bad.
No, it's not because of the network now.
Okay,
Why I
because
don't want the video is because of where I am. Yes.
okay, no problem. Let's continue.
Yes. Okay, so I'm trying to open the one that you sent to me, so I don't have to tell you to. Okay, so this is Emelumadu Ebubechukwu.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So hello, Miss Emelumadu. So now for what kind of position have you been applying for? So let me know what to, or the one that you like to, that you seek.
Currently,
What have you been applying for in the past?
Why? So what?
Yes, currently, or the one that you have done in the past, or the one you are doing now. I think the one you are doing now is better.
I was an on-air personality, but currently I'm not applying for anything in particular because I transitioned to data analyst.
Okay, so that means that you're looking for something in tech at the moment.
Yes.
Okay.
But initially there was no clarity of people, so it was just random application.
Okay, so but now you know what you want.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me like an example of what kind of role would you want to apply for now that you know what you want?
Entry level position as a data analyst for now. Okay, currently I would like to work as an intern.
No, that's fine. That's but for data analytics, data analyst, right?
Yeah, data analyst.
Okay, so hello, you're welcome. What's your name? We have started the interview now. What's your name?
My name is Emelumadu.
Oh, okay. So what does your friends call you? What name do you answer to all the time?
Nene.
Okay. But between the two names that you have here, which one do you answer to?
Wayoma.
Okay. So is it okay to call you Wayoma?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're welcome. You are welcome, Wayoma. How are you doing today?
Doing fine, thank you.
Oh, okay. So why did you apply for the job of data analyst intern?
Okay, I recently transitioned into data analysis. So I want to start as an intern, so to gain more knowledge, practical knowledge of data analysis, and then expand my knowledge, network with like minds, and contribute positively to the organization.
Okay. So can you share your previous experiences with me? Your previous work experience.
Okay, I worked as an on-air personality for 2 years, 2019 to 2021. And then during my service year, I worked as an administrative assistant for 1 year. Then I have I also worked as a teacher, but on part-time teacher during my service year too.
Okay, so now what made you go into tech? Since your background is in as an on-air personality, why did you decide to do tech?
Okay, just like I said before, I had this clarity of purpose because that's what I've been searching for. And I'm the kind of person I like to talk. That's why I found myself in the media house. But at the time, I noticed that I was not happy and I was not growing. So I needed a space to grow. And choosing data analysis, I'm the kind of person I like to make research. I love to solve problems. I wouldn't swear that I love working with numbers, but then I love solving big problems.
Okay. Okay, so now that you have changed into tech, what's your career plan? Where do you see yourself in the future? What's your aspirations in terms of your career?
I look forward to being a data engineer in the next 5 years.
Okay. And then what plans do you have to be able to achieve that in 5 years? What are you doing currently?
Okay, currently, I'm undergoing some training because I'm more like a newbie in the career field. I'm taking my online courses, networking with data analysts on LinkedIn and some other platforms, training some communities to meet like minds. I'm also taking online courses, just like I said, and I enrolled myself in an academy, in a tech academy. I'm studying data analysis.
Okay, so how much would you like to earn as an intern?
To be honest, as an intern, my primary objective is no money.
I'm listening. Go ahead. Go ahead. Continue.
Okay, as an intern, I started off my career with the mindset that I'm not in for the money. So I'm just in for the knowledge of it. I just want to learn. Maybe in the next 6 months, I can take my prize. But currently, as an intern, money is not my priority.
Okay. That's interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Okay, so do you have any question for me?
I would have loved to ask, but I don't know the organization you are representing.
Okay, so we are currently recruiting for an IT company. They work in the fintech space. So do you have question for the company or question for me? You can ask. If we are able to provide the answers, we'll let you know. So what question would you have asked?
As an intern, in as much as I stated initially that I'm not in for the money,
Mm-hmm.
would there be provision for an intern, maybe kind of stipend?
Yes, there is a provision for that, for an allowance, yes. Any other question?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your time. We'll get back to you on what the next step is. Okay, so now the interview is over. Let me comment. Well, generally, you did well. You're able to, articulate what you want to say and to say them clearly. However, you did not, in terms of the things that you have done previously, you did not push them forward well, because those are the things. What you have done before will let me know what you can do now or what you can do tomorrow. Like when you were talking about your on-air personality and the fact that you have taught, you didn't really, say what you were doing as an on-air personality. What was your way? When you taught in the school, what were you teaching? What kind of elaborate things to say? But these are things that give you 1 or 2 points, because you might think that because you're looking for data analyst job, that the fact that you taught biology, in one secondary school in Sokoto State that it is not important. No, you might think that it is not important, but the fact that you were able to stay in Sokoto State for 1 year, and remember that if you have the information of whether the performance of the student while you were there improved, that is also a good point. The fact that you manage a class size of 50 students, that is a good point, because you know what you can extract from that are transferable skills. You're able to manage stress. You're able to deliver on time. You have the resilience to stay even in a condition that is not so palatable. You understand? So those are the things that your previous experience, give you, that even though you might be saying, okay, well, I've been doing customer service, but now I want to do data analytics, that they are not connected. No, they might not be connected directly, but they are connected indirectly because there are some skills that you can use irrespective of what you are doing. For instance, if you have communication skills, you can use it. It doesn't matter what job you're doing. You need communication, whether it is spoken communication or written communication. So I think that's a place where you did not you didn't give yourself points, which I think that you have, as in you didn't sell yourself well. So you might have reduced your mark because you didn't portray yourself in terms of what you have done. Yes, what you have done is not exactly what you want to do now, but I want to know what you have done. So that's a place where I want to highlight that because they are not directly related doesn't mean that you not talk about them. So don't just mention what you have done in terms of title, like, oh, I worked as a customer service in UBA. I worked I was a sales girl in this supermarket in Obalende. No, don't just mention it like that. When you were sales girl in this place, what were you doing as a sales girl? What value were you bringing? What value were you adding? What customer problems were you solving? What services were you providing for the company or for the company's clients? Those are the kind of things that we want to hear, because really, if you're in front of me, what tells me that you can do what I want you to do is what you have done before. So I don't know if that's clear. So, but generally, you did well. You were able to explain why you're changing course, even though that you were not in tech. And then, when you mentioned about not being in this about money and people laughed, it's not actually a bad point. It's okay to say that, especially since what we were discussing is internship. Internship are not highly paid, even though they are well paid in some places. But also, what is good about what you said is that you are open to learning now, and then you can always seek the remuneration later. That is a very good point, because really what people pay is for what you have, is for the skill, is for what you can do, is what we are paying for. So for now that you realize that you actually have the skill, but not a lot. So you want an opportunity where you can learn and improve before you can start charging. So that's a good point. But don't tell me that when you have 2 years experience in tech, you come and tell somebody that I'm not here for the money. That would not be a good point at that time. But at the time now that you're looking for internship, it's fine. It's fine to say that. But at the point where you have 5 years experience, I don't expect you to say that anymore. I want you to now discuss. So is it that you're telling me that you are open to my own, maybe my company standard of pay, or you are giving me the range of what you want? So I don't know if that's clear as well. Is that clear? Is my observations? Do you understand what I mean?
Okay, so I sent you the CV of the next person. Are you there, ma'am?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm unable to see that one, so but I'll use what we have on the screen. Okay, so this is Adebo. Adele, okay. Is the person ready?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so and for before now, or what is it that you want to be applying for? So let's know the role that we'll use.
Data analytics role.
Okay, so the same role. Okay. Okay, so hello, you're welcome. How are you doing today?
Very fine. And you?
Okay, I'm okay. Thanks for asking. So where did you see our adverts?
I saw your advert on Indeed.com and I applied.
Okay, so what caught your interest? Why did you apply?
I applied to show the role for internship, and judging from the company's profile, it's a startup, and I believe as a startup there will be space to learn and learn new market trends. That's why I applied.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, so what makes you think that you are qualified for this role?
I have a background in chemical engineering, which is majorly calculation, mathematics, critical thinking. Now, with the new training I just gained from KECCareersAdvice Knowledge Exchange Center in basic in data analytics and applying it for this role will just be the best fit, I believe.
Okay, so tell me about your experience and what you have done so far.
All right, the last place I worked as a business development executive at fast-paced logistics, and where I was able to bring in clients for their major package, which is the big brokers package. That has to do with permit me. That has to do with clients' sales for. Please, can I just take it from the top? Or can I get a bottle of water? I just
Are you done? Are you? Can I go on?
Yes, please, you can.
Okay. Okay. I can see that you have done a bit of sales. So why did you decide to go into data analytics?
Okay. Judging by the trends, the market is changing, all is going digital, and a lot of data is being generated. Definitely, data will be the next gig. So it's better to be with that trend rather to be left on the moving train. It's better to be on the moving train rather than be at the bus stop or train station.
Okay. 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 So, and how much of experience do you have in data analytics?
I have just 3 months of experience.
Okay. Okay. So, judging by your experience, how much do you want to earn as a data analyst?
Okay, I checked internship rules and now what they are being paid in companies similar to the startups. I saw 150,000 naira for internship. So I don't really know, and I'm very sure at the companies you have a break for internship. And since this is a platform for me to learn, I'll be willing to negotiate for it if that will be the case. As long as I can learn and I can get something reasonable out of this thing.
Okay. So, how much are you expecting?
Within the range of 150,000.
Okay. Okay. So, what are your career aspirations?
I think growing to becoming business data analyst. But you can't be a business data analyst if you don't understand the concept of data analysis. So that's the stepping stone for me to get there.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. Do you have any question for me?
Yes, I do. I would like to ask, are you working with the company or you are consulting for the company, please?
Okay, I'm working in the company.
All right, so if you are to advise a new person coming on board, what would be your greatest advice for the person to optimally perform better than those on ground?
Okay, my advice would be for the person to be himself or herself and to always keep learning and make continuous learning part of their everyday life. That's how you succeed in any role. Any other question?
I think that'll be all for now.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Okay, so my observations. Well, generally, I think you were able to articulate what you want and you were able to say what you mean. Okay, but let me highlight.
I can barely hear you, ma.
Okay, like when we were talking. Okay, so when we're talking, like how much you want to earn. You know, the issue for me was not that you mentioned 150. You know, you mentioned 150 and the people were laughing. I don't know why they were laughing, whether it was because it was small or it was big. I don't know. But the way you started is what is where the flag is. Like, you do your research. You don't need to tell me that you did your research. You understand? You don't need to tell me that this is what they pay elsewhere. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. You're supposed to do your, yes, you're supposed to do your research, but you don't tell me that you have done your research and the 150 is what they pay elsewhere. No, that's not how I expect to hear from you. And then even though you said a range, you gave me a figure. You said you want a range. A range of 150 is not a range. A range is between a number and another number. That's what a range is. So you gave me just one figure. Okay. But you said that you gave me a range, yes. So I just wanted to highlight that. So the fact that you gave 150 is not even a problem. But the two things that I want to highlight is the fact that you said range, but you didn't give range, and the fact that you gave one figure. So okay. One figure is not a negotiation. Negotiation means that you're giving me options of discussion. So between this, maybe between 120 and 150, between 150 and 200, that means you're open to negotiation. If you tell me 150, it means that you want 150 or nothing. That's what it sounds like. That may not be what you want to say, but that is what it appears to be. And then telling me that you made a research. Well, yeah, you're supposed to do your research, but you don't need to mention it that, okay, this is what they are paying elsewhere. Okay, just tell me that, because really what I asked you is what would you want to earn? So that should be your answer, which you're pulling your answer from your research, but you're not telling me your research because I didn't ask for your research. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's another thing. What was the next one? But I think that that you generally, you did well. But another thing that you didn't sell well is when I asked why you moved into data analytics. You made it sound that like you were following the trend. That's the way you made it sound, like that's a trending thing. So you have left sales, you have jumped into that may not be the reason, but from what you said, like what I can deduct from what you said, that is the way it sounds. But so you need to be careful to make sure that what you're saying is what you mean, not just because you know that I might be interpreting it in another way. So you made it sound like, yes, I know that tech is trending and that's the new where everybody is moving to. But you also have to show me how you are interested in it and how it is part of your long-term goal, not just the fact that it's trending, or maybe it's trending because it's popular or it's trending because it's paying well. No, even that may be part of your reason, but that is not the reason you would want to tell me, because if that is what you're telling me, then you're not giving yourself good points. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Very well.
Yes. So those are the two things. So when you want to, say something, you need to say it in such a way that it will complement you and not take away from the points that you should have. So that question, you need to go back and think about it and write it in such a way so that you'll be able to communicate it the next time you go for such a meeting. That, okay, well, this is the reason why I'm going into tech. Okay, is it because it interests you? Is it because you're solving problem? Is it because it's innovative? There are so many reasons why you go. So choose your own, even though it's trending. Yes, that may be part of it, but trending should not be the first thing you should say. trending can come as part of what you're saying, but that should not be the major thing that you're saying. Because what if something else starts trending tomorrow? Do you leave this career path and go to that one? You understand? So there's a lot of interpretation that can be given to it. So if it's just because it's trending, it means that if it stops trending next year, your career path will change to the next trending thing, which is not a good thing. So you need to align it to your long-term goal. And then the question you asked was a good one. Yeah. The one you asked me about if I was a recruiter or if I work here. And so that's a good question. And that's a question that many people don't ask really. So that's a good point.
Okay. Thanks so much, Matt.
All right.
All right, have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you. Okay, so another thing that I know that people can ask as well, you know that you might not be able to ask about money, or you might not want to ask that. You might ask them, okay, do you people have medical insurance? It's okay to ask that. Do you people have medical insurance? I know that the one I hear all the time is, do you people have staff boss? I hear that a lot, but not many people ask about medical insurance. So you can ask them, do you have medical insurance? Do you pay pension? Because pension is statutory. It's required by law for a company to pay pension. So it's okay for you to ask them if they pay that, if they pay pension. Do they have medical insurance for their staff and stuff like that? Yeah, any other question? I think that's all my comment for the second candidate.
Okay. I sent you another CV. Can you see it?
I can see your screen, but
You can't get it on the WhatsApp.
looking at my time. I have 3:30 minutes.
Okay, should I just scroll through this?
3:37. So I do. No. What I'm saying is time. I need to be in another meeting. I need to be in another meeting.
Now, Abi. Will you finish?
You said, what did you say?
I said, are you leaving now?
I didn't hear what you said.
I said, are you leaving now?
No, I'm saying that I need to be in another meeting now.
You need to be able to do this one.
I don't know when this meeting. Yes, I would like to leave now.
Okay.
Am I leaving?
Yes, it's okay.
No, I won't be able to do another one. But if that day, if you have the time.
Thank you very much for your time. You told me ahead that you had another engagement. Thank you very much for taking your time. Please kindly appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I will reach out to you via WhatsApp as a follow-up.
No problem. Yeah. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the training. Bye, everyone.
Okay.